Hello, my name is Memphis Martin. My major is computer engineering and technologies. And an interesting fact about myself, I accidentally took a college level class in my freshman year of high school. I ended up getting extra credits for it, and I just kind of thought it was just a normal class, but it was actually a little bit easier for me than most. Turns out it was not a normal class, it was college level. But anyway, on to my name of my journal. I'm calling my journal my communication journey because I kind of took all of the different journal entries for it, for each chapters or for units 1 and 2, and I made them kind of related to each chapter to where they kind of took a moment of my life, and I related it to that and how I communicated differently through those different periods. Or at least that's what I tried to do, so that's why I'm going to name it my communication journey. Anyway, for my personal goal for this class, it's just to improve my communication, which I think I've done that pretty well. Even the 2 chapters that I'm about to talk about, both my least favorite and my favorite, have actually helped me a lot recently with how I communicate with people, with both understanding their culture and their emotions, which is pretty good. But anyway, on to my favorite chapter, chapter 5, it talks about culture and how it affects us and how we communicate with other people. I also really like how it's described, defined in the textbook, which I have here. Also have a Webster dictionary version that it pairs well with. But its textbook definition is an established, coherent set of beliefs, attitudes, values, and practices shared by a large group of people. This is very easily backed up with its Webster's dictionary definition of culture is the customary beliefs, social forms, and material traits of racial, religious, and or social groups, which they line up pretty good together. So I feel like that's why it's my favorite chapter, and I also really just like talking about people's culture and getting to know people through that way. But anyway, on my least favorite chapter, chapter 4, it goes really into depth on how emotions affect us and how we communicate with people, which I don't find that resonating as much with me because I try and don't let my emotions kind of hit my judgment or try and touch my communication as much, because I want to try and communicate clearly with people regardless to avoid conflict, or as much conflict as I can. And I also just don't like how it's defined in the textbook, which, by the way, I have that back here, which is an intense reaction to an event that involves interpreting event meaning, becoming physiologically aroused, labeling the experience as emotional, managing reactions, and communicating the emotional displays and disclosures. 1, it's really long-winded, and 2, it's just generally I don't think all of emotions are intense enough to really do that much. But also it kind of does, but not completely lines up with its Webster dictionary, which I also don't like that inconsistency. Which its Webster dictionary definition is a conscious mental reaction such as anger or fear, generally experienced as a strong feeling, usually directed towards a specific object, and typically it's accompanied by physiological and behavioral changes in the body. But yeah, I don't like it because it just, while they can be very strong emotions, I don't think they're always intense. But that's besides the point, although that chapter is still very much useful to how I talk nowadays. Anyway, in conclusion, I believe this class has helped me in a variety of ways, and I feel like it's ultimately helped me reach my goal of communicating better, and it helped me figure out that I have a more passive communicating style, which they tend to avoid conflict or try to avoid as much as possible, which I mentioned earlier, as I always try and do, which is a good thing. And personally, I think both chapters 4 and 5, and honestly all the chapters from units 1 and 2, have helped me develop my communication style and improve it. Also, turn around to the audience and my brother Corey.